It is Hockey Week on Fox 13 News.
And tonight it's all about the Utah Hockey Club.
And the Utah Hockey Club is skating on the ice right now.
More than a few people showed up for the Utah Hockey Club's first preseason game at the Delta Center. I'll tell you what I saw and heard.
It's hockey night here in Salt Lake City. How fans are taking in the Utah Hockey Club's first home preseason game.
Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Kelly Chapman. It's hockey history in the making in downtown Salt Lake City right now. The Utah Hockey Club's preseason home opener is happening.
And Fox 13 News has team coverage tonight. Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold has fan reaction, and he's with Fox 13 sports anchor Morgan Vance standing by outside the Delta Center.
And a little later, Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph will give us a history lesson with some Utah ties. But we begin with Fox 13 sports director Jeff Rainier. Jeff, how is the game looking right now?
Boy, it's been a fantastic night. Great to see him on the ice. We were all out there when the game started, and it was quite an event. Here's the Utah Hockey Club taking the ice for the first time in front of their fans at Delta Center. First goal of the match came in the first period by Utah. Sean Dursey to Lawson Krause. Power play goal puts it into the back of the net. And Utah was up 1-0 in the first period. Moments later, Liam O'Brien got in a fight. That had the crowd going crazy. Yeah, that's spicy tuna down on the ice, pumping up the crowd. Utah added another goal in the first period by Alex Kerfoot. It's tied at 2 right now at the end of the second period. We'll have the third period highlights coming up a little later on in the show. But right now, let's check in with Morgan Vance and Chris Arnold live outside Delta Center. Hey, guys.
Hello, Jeff. Yeah, this felt anything other than a preseason hockey game. It reminded me of how exciting hockey is when you're actually inside the arena, just staring right down at the rink. Lots of crazy sounds banging up against the glass. Chris, all kinds of fun stuff. I worked in college at the E-Center, now the Maverick Center, for the Olympics back in 2002. In fact, Tej Aginla's dad played for Team Canada at that time, and I just remember being on the ice for the gold medal game. It felt a lot like that. So I wrote down a collection of just a few of my observations from this game. First save came right away, minute 1. First net crash 4 minutes in. First fight after that, and there were plenty of those, believe me. First blue line shot 12 minutes in. First power play 14 minutes in, and then the first goal, the most important thing that brought the house down, came during that power play by Lawson Krause. So we'll have plenty more with the Utah Hockey Club later in sports, but now I turn it over to you. There were a few people in attendance tonight.
Yeah, no, and boy, were they excited. I know I was in there right when the teams came out to warm up, and you just hear this loud roar as the team takes the ice. You know, people were out here lining up at around 5 o'clock tonight, and the line just all the way back here into the concourse. People waiting to get in, anxious to be the first one inside the building tonight. And you know, fans I spoke with said they expected it to be a loud, fun, and memorable experience inside the Delta Center tonight.
I grew up in North Carolina, so I was a Hurricanes fan.
Emily and Allie Fox's allegiance to other NHL teams has always been strong.
I was a Montreal Canadiens fan. Being from Australia, it's a Commonwealth nation, so I was a big Canadiens fan. They were kind of like the New York Yankees of ice hockey.
But that all changed last spring for this Harriman couple.
And we are Utah. We're excited. I've got Keller, number 9. Star forward.
Not missing out on seeing the Utah Hockey Club in person the first chance they got.
It's like the first game. The first Utah has a, final NHL team, you know? I just wanted to be here. We wanted to be here.
An hour and a half before the puck dropped, fans of all ages began filing into the Delta Center.
Hey, hockey!
Donning their Utah Hockey Club gear. What's the most exciting part for you?
Probably seeing the team playing in the first game. I feel like it's a cool experience to see the first game.
I just think it's going to be super loud and it's going to be a fun time.
8-year-old Braden Webb and his 11-year-old brother Braxton both play hockey. They came out to Monday's preseason home opener with family and friends. With faces painted,
the Utah logo,
to represent the Utah Hockey Club, the Webb brothers told Fox 13 News what they were looking forward to seeing during the game.
Seeing the goalies play.
I met Logan Pouliot. I hope he scores a goal.
Their friend Griffin Hill had other ideas.
I actually want to see them fight in person.
Fans expressing excitement to be a part of the atmosphere inside the Delta Center for the Utah Hockey Club's first ever home game.
We've never had a Utah team for the NHL, so I'm excited to see how they do.
You'll remember this, we'll tell our kids, and we're at the first game, and yeah, I think first game is the biggest game, so we're excited.
And I did speak with another member of the Webb family earlier today. I spoke with 5-year-old Sterling Webb. I asked him for a little bit of a game prediction tonight, and his was pretty bold. He thought that the Utah Hockey Club would shut the Kings out and win 5-0, but obviously that isn't going to happen tonight. The game tied 2-2 right now, but good news for Sterling and the rest of the fans inside right now. There's still a chance for a Utah Hockey Club W tonight. Live outside the Delta Center, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Oh, it was exciting. Chris, thanks so much. Don't forget, you can watch any Utah Hockey Club game on our partner station, Utah 16. To get that channel, just rescan your TV. You can also find Utah 16 on DirecTV or streaming on Fubo. The Utah Hockey Club's next game is this Friday on the road against the Vegas Golden Knights.
My goodness, and what a beautiful night to have all those fans out there going into the Delta Center.
I think it was pretty much sold out. That was my assessment.
It sure looked like it was.
Inside.
Yeah, it sure looked like it was.
Yeah, the weather went along with it. It was an exciting night, of course, to kick off this season. Here we go, where today we found temperatures about where we should be for this time of year. As we ended the day, video coming up from Chris Williams flying the drone. Yeah, beautiful sunset. A few high clouds rolling through, providing the colors though that you want to see. Where temperatures today, as I mentioned, close to average here across northern Utah, reaching the upper 70s for most spots. Logan coming in at 77 degrees, 79 Ogden, Salt Lake City, all the way towards Delta. Low 80s as you turn towards Milford, even Cedar City. You reach the low 80s, mid 90s in St. George. Of course, coming off last week's more fall-like temperatures, kind of even more of a mid-fall situation where temperatures quite a bit cooler, but we're back on the rise. A little bit of a seasonal confusion. Are we going to stay fall or are we going to go back to summer? Well, we've got that high pressure building in where, as we take a look at your current temperatures right now, we're in the 60s with expected lows dipping down into the 50s here tonight. But we've got a few high clouds posing no threat of any precipitation as they move from the north towards the south, moving away as we'll bring in that high pressure and keep the clouds away here, especially here in the overnight hours. But there's your forecast. Low for Salt Lake City, mid 50s to start the day. So not quite as cool as we saw it this morning, but as I mentioned, we're on a big rise with the temperatures. How hot does it get? I'll let you know coming up.
All right, Breck, thanks so much. Now to tonight's top headlines. The murder trial for the man accused of killing 3-year-olds Odin Ratliff and Hunter Jackson in Eagle Mountain in 2022 has been delayed again. In a Provo courtroom today, the judge decided that a new judge has to take over the Kent Cody Barlow case after the state Supreme Court allowed Barlow's defense attorney to leave the case after the death of his father, overruling the judge's denial to do so. The judge presiding over this case right now is retiring at the end of the year, and with that, as well as the change in Barlow's defense team, the trial must be pushed back to March of next year at the earliest.
The Camas mother accused of fatally poisoning her husband, Eric Richens, appeared in a Summit County courtroom for a pretrial hearing today.
Okay, Ms. Richens, I'll see you again on October 28th at 3:30 p.m.
Corey Richens' attorneys and the judge discussed a potential change of venue for the trial, as well as pulling a jury pool outside of Summit County. No decision was made today. Richens' defense team is expected to file an appeal in the coming weeks. She also has pleaded not guilty to all charges in connection with her husband's death. The trial is scheduled for April 28th of next year.
Tonight was the funeral for retired Provo Master Police Officer Paul Jonda. He passed away 10 days ago after a battle with cancer forced his retirement last year. Before that, he served the community for nearly 30 years. Master Officer Jonda is survived by his wife and son and the entire Provo Police Department, who considered him a brother.
Hard to forget that. It has now been a year and a half since 2 homes slid off a cliff in Draper. Today, the city of Draper closed Clark's Trail as part of the remediation of the slide area. It is anticipated that the trail will be closed for a couple of weeks. Contractors are experiencing safety issues on Clark's Trail, with users coming through the paths. To protect the safety of trail users and workers in the remediation area, Draper's Canyon Patrol Officer will be in the area writing tickets for passing onto these trails. The city will update when it is open once again, but it is expected it will be completed by the end of the year.
The public open house for the Deseret Peak, Utah Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints begins this week in Tooele. It's set to begin Thursday and will run through Saturday, October 19th, excluding Sundays, and Saturday, October 5th during General Conference. The open house is free for anyone to attend. You can make reservations online. The temple will be dedicated Sunday, November 10th. When it is dedicated, it'll be the 200th operating temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
The only assisted living facility in Summit County could be closing. What would replace it, and how do residents and their families feel about it?
And tragedy in Duchesne County as a teenage boy is being tried as an adult in a murder case for allegedly shooting and killing his stepbrother. What authorities are revealing about the case tonight. The only assisted living facility in Summit County could be closing, and employees, residents, and their families are fighting for the center to stay open.
We're talking about the Elk Meadows Assisted Living Facility in Oakley. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser shows us how they're feeling and what could be going there instead.
Utahns of all ages protest outside the Elk Meadows Assisted Living Center days after they found out the only care facility in the county could be going away.
Everybody here is just family, and we don't want to lose that.
According to a notice sent by the city of Oakley, the Chateau Recovery Center wants to buy the building and turn it into a 56-bed drug and alcohol treatment facility.
Honestly, I wish Oakley would step up and do better.
The property is only a half-mile horse ride away from Todd Lazenby's home.
My mom and dad are both residents here. They got in a car wreck a couple of years ago, and we ended up here, and we hate to see it move.
The city received an application for an amendment to be made on the existing conditional use permit. That's the only way the recovery center could go there, and that's decided by city planner Stephanie Wolstenhume.
I hope our community understands that they are being heard, though we can't necessarily, the city's hands are very tied in this transaction.
The protesters say they aren't mad about the treatment center, they're just upset their loved ones would have to move far away.
It just doesn't seem right to put our elderly people out on the street, that it's the only place, there's nowhere else for them to go.
Utah code requires closing facilities to give residents a 30 days notice. The community has until the end of the week on the 27th to submit public comment to the city. Wolstenhume tells me she doesn't know how long it'll take after that to make a decision, since the property has yet to be officially sold. Reporting in Oakley, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The owners of Elk Meadows sent Fox 13 News a statement saying, quote, "We understand the challenges a potential building sale creates for the existing residents. We have a first-class management team that is prepared, qualified, and ready to assist residents and their families with relocation efforts if the sale occurs."
Back to Utah Hockey Club. You know, so much goes into making a hockey game possible. But did you know that a big part of preparing the ice has a historical tie to Utah?
I had no idea until today.
Me neither.
Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph goes in depth on this topic. He continues our team coverage.
There's a name in hockey and in ice sport in general that's synonymous with excellence. And no, I'm not talking about any hockey player in particular. I'm talking about Zamboni. But what you may not know as a proud Utahn is that the inventor of this machine grew up right here.
It's your first introduction to hockey and skating world.
People are mesmerized by it. They're hypnotized by it.
I remember being a little kid, my first times at the rink, I was excited to see the Zamboni machine as I was to watch the game itself.
There are few brand names as synonymous with ice as Zamboni. So much so, you may not even know it's a brand name.
I kind of compare it to being a mascot inside the building. Like, people know it's coming out, the kids are excited about it. They want the autograph of the driver, you know, the parents are like, how is that thing working?
But this magnificent machine we all marvel at wouldn't have happened without Utah.
Frank Zamboni was born in 1901 in Eureka, Utah.
Shortly after, Zamboni moved right next door to Idaho, growing up and learning about farm equipment.
His family actually pulled him out of school in the 9th grade to help around the farm because he became so valuable to what they were doing.
Later in life, he moved with family to California, where they made ice for dairy farmers. But with refrigeration on the way, they needed another business to use their ice expertise.
It's probably time for us to pivot, and they did that, and they built Iceland. So that was when they realized they were going to need to figure out how to take care of that ice.
All those years of tinkering with machines led Frank to create the first Zamboni. And over 75 years later, they've built over 12,000.
They're all custom made for every individual. You know, we're not a Ford Motors, we're not a Toyota. It's not just go on a parking lot and pick out, the machine that you want.
And now the newest and greatest Zamboni tech will be on the ice for the Utah Hockey Club.
We're really excited that, 100 years after Frank moved out of Utah, there's now an NHL team in Utah, and you guys are using the new technology.
But we can't wait to see that in action, and we'll be there arm in arm with them, helping them with their team.
So as you catch your first hockey games this season, remember to save a little extra cheer for the Zamboni, as without Utah, it wouldn't have happened at all.
From little kids to big kids, it's a fun thing that people typically have pretty happy memories of.
Spencer Joseph.
And everybody wants to drive the Zamboni.
Fox 13 News, Utah.
And here is a little known fact that very few people knew, and that is the ice shavings that come from the Zamboni is what they use to make the snow cones.
Really?
And, yeah, between the second and third period at the Delta Center.
The extra special snow cones.
Yeah, the extra special snow cones.
Well, I got to ride a Zamboni a week ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, I got to go on a ride with one of the people that gets trained at the Olympic Oval. Guess how much a Zamboni costs?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, dear.
They're probably $300,000-$400,000.
Not quite. Entry level is 150 to 200,000,
Okay.
but there are some models that can get up that high.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well,
yeah.
the ones that make the snow cones are more
I know,
expensive.
that's an extra feature.
Well, because you got to have the flavors, you
Right.
know,
On the side.
on the Zamboni.
Was it
on the
hard
side.
to drive? Well, you didn't get to drive
No,
it.
I didn't get it. I just got to ride along.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So that was easy.
It was easy for me to watch, yeah. And it is captivating to kind of check it out. So that was a lot of fun. Of course, this is what we've been talking about, or related to the hockey. Speaking of, though, ice, well, some of us may be begging for a little bit of ice where temperatures are going looking ahead, where we bring back summer, where we've been enjoying not only the fall temperatures, but of course the fall colors, highlighting that with another photo coming up on our Facebook page, Mueller Park Trail. Brandon sharing these photos where, yeah, we're seeing, of course, the colors changing and in lower elevations. This is that time of year where opportunities with the weather to go along with to go out and enjoy the fall colors. Of course, that's more of a weekend activity, as it looks like we're going to keep this nice weather going through the week into the weekend. Today's high, though, 79 degrees, slightly above normal. You can see the record set back in 1992 at 92 degrees. We're heading for the 90s here along the Wasatch Front quite rapidly as high pressure quickly building in. Right now, though, as we're looking at mainly clear conditions, we've got temperatures here along the Wasatch Front in the 60s. This is what we're expecting to see. Yes, with a warm up, kind of a hint of summer, where even temperatures in St. George getting close to triple digits as we look by the middle of the week. We're going to keep it clear. We don't see much of a chance of precipitation here for the next several days. Weekend shake up in that we bring a weak cool front that will drop temperatures, but even in a temperature drop, it's still looks to be above average because from the Climate Prediction Center saying, hey, next 6 to 10 days, we're going to keep temperatures above average, really, as you look across most of the country there, and especially here for the Intermountain region through the desert Southwest, as temperatures look to be anywhere between 10 to 15 degrees above average, all due to this high pressure that's going to strengthen. And over the next couple of days, just park itself here across the state before it swings a little bit further east by Wednesday and Thursday. We'll see this little dip of the jet stream ushering again that weak cool front once we head into the weekend, but it's not going to be strong. We don't see a sharp drop in temperatures, just maybe a little bit of a cool down as we go from Sunday into Monday. So it's just steady and easy here. Looking at the forecast as we're going to keep it clear tonight. Temperatures not quite as cold as we saw last night, but still some locations getting down into the 40s. You can see through central Utah up through Cache Valley. Looks like St. George, you're into the mid-90s tomorrow. Many spots in the 80s as you turn towards central and eastern Utah. Even here along the Wasatch Front, we're looking at temperatures maybe anywhere between 3 to 5 degrees warmer than what we saw today. And we're only going to warm up as we move ahead. We go from 95 to 98. And even seeing temperatures close to triple digits. Wouldn't be surprised, though, if we do reach 100, at least Friday and Saturday. But as you can see, all sunny icons there. And looking here for northern Utah, similar situation as we go from low 80s to low 90s. And then it looks like mainly mid to upper 80s through the weekend and slightly cooler temperatures into Monday. But as you can see over the next 7 days, we don't have any rain in the forecast. We'll be back right after the break.
In national news, a detention hearing in federal court today is revealing more information about the man suspected of an apparent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
Court documents filed today indicate Ryan Routh allegedly wrote a letter that was addressed to the world, quote unquote, and said, quote, "This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster," unquote. Prosecutors say the box that contained the letter also had ammunition, a metal pipe, 4 phones, tools, and various other letters inside.
Authorities in Birmingham, Alabama, still looking for the suspect or suspects involved in a mass shooting on Saturday, and they're offering up to $100,000 in rewards. The FBI and Crime Stoppers are both offering $50,000 each for information that leads to an arrest. Police describe the shooting as a targeted hit by multiple shooters outside of a popular night spot. 4 people died in the shooting, 17 other people were injured.
The Pentagon announced today that the U.S. is sending more troops to the Middle East. Officials gave no details on how many troops will be sent or what they'll be doing. On Saturday, the State Department made a cautionary statement about the unpredictable nature of the ongoing conflict between Hezbollah and Israel. It urged U.S. citizens to leave Lebanon as strikes between the two intensify. The U.S. currently has about 40,000 troops in the region.
After 5 months of anticipation, here we go. The Utah Hockey Club on their own ice.
A new family park closed and locked until the lock was broken to get inside. Why the city says it won't happen again.
Just to get a hold of EMS and get a hold of everybody to come and help, it was hard.
And an accident on the job and the series of miracles that man's family says happened that saved his life.
We continue our exciting coverage of the Utah Hockey Club's preseason home opener.
Oh, it was an exciting night. Let's go back out live to Fox 13 sports anchor Morgan Vance, who is live at the Delta Center. Morgan, how's that game going now? Where are all the fans?
Yeah, this has been quite the hockey game here at the Delta Center. The Utah Hockey Club, they owned the first period with 2 scores, but the Kings rallied with 2 in the second period. The third period yet to be determined, currently tied at 2. But before the game began, I spoke with Chris Armstrong, who is the president of hockey operations, and I asked him a very specific question about new fans of the sport here in Utah and how they're growing a love for the sport. Chris, how contagious is this game in your opinion? I mean, fans maybe seeing this game for the first time, at least at this level. Does it take one dropping of the gloves, one goal? What does it take?
I think just people feeling the
the physicality, the speed of the game, the talent and skill of our young players, but then also, most importantly, getting to see Utah on the front of the chest of our players. It's going to be a real moment and source of pride for not only for our players, but I think everybody in the stadium tonight.
You know, one of my favorite moments all night long was during the first intermission. A group of Pee Wee hockey players, no older than 4 or 5 years old, were all skating out there, bumbling and fumbling around. It was really quite classic to watch. This has been a lot of fun tonight. I'll be back later in sports. From the Delta Center, Morgan Vance, Fox 13 Sports.
Morgan, thanks so much. Don't forget you can watch any Utah Hockey Club game on Utah 16. To get that channel, just rescan your TV. You can also find Utah 16 on DirecTV or streaming on Fubo. The Utah Hockey Club's next game is this Friday on the road against the Vegas Golden Knights. In other local news, for the second weekend in a row, there has been confusion about the hours of a new All Abilities Family Park in Lehi. Families were told to leave yesterday after someone broke the lock to the park. As Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree explains, the city is planning to address the issue this week.
As a taxpayer and somebody that cares about the community, it's nice to be able to have something to show for it, right?
Timothy and Brittany Ponce couldn't believe someone broke the lock at Family Park on Sunday.
It would be nice if people can just respect that this is an amazing park and all the resources that went into it.
The same thing happened last Sunday too.
Somebody took the hinges off the gates to let them in one time. We actually have a pretty elaborate locking system. They cut the padlock off of it, unbolted it, and opened it up again after we changed or locked it down the second time.
Parks and Facilities Director Steve Marchbank says City Council will set the official park hours during Tuesday night's council meeting, and he believes the demand for the park being open Sundays will be met.
And I think it's a testament of, people want to use the park, so every time we were back up here, it was full, yet, we don't condone people breaking in. It's no different to me than a public building. If it's locked, it's locked.
I feel like somebody broke the gate.
Kevin Hart was at the park Sunday. He says there were so many people in there, he did not think it was closed.
They should have had this all figured out before they opened up the park. Knowing that people are going to want to go out there on a Sunday, knowing that the weather's still really nice outside. I mean, you open up something like this and expect people not to be able to use it 7 days a week in the middle of the day? Like, come on, that's just cruel.
The Ponces say they understand it takes a lot to run and maintain a park of this size.
It has everything here that you can really ask for.
In Lehi, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Tonight we are learning more about a deadly shooting involving 2 teens in Duchesne County over the weekend. Deputies say the shooting Sunday left a 14-year-old boy dead and that his 16-year-old stepbrother, Hagen Sagers, who is being charged as an adult, is now in custody. Sheriff Travis Tucker tells Fox 13 News the weapon used was a rifle and that the younger stepbrother was shot in the chest.
It's just a tragic thing that nobody wants to see, and it's terrible for the family and all that are involved. These are teenagers, and a lot of teenagers out here have access to weapons. We just need to educate, know what those weapons can do. Hold on to them. If you know of anything, suspect anything with mental health or anything like that, it's always easier to secure them weapons.
Sheriff Tucker says that this is an active homicide investigation. No court date has been set yet for Sagers.
Now to a Fox 13 News exclusive. A family is expressing gratitude tonight to everyone who helped save a man's life after a terrible accident on the job in rural Garfield County last week.
Thankfully, all those people were there. Fox 13 News anchor Amy Nay picks up the story from here.
Yeah, yep, this is where it went down. So,
wow. So what's that like to get back to work today?
it was kind of tough to come back and see the area that it happened.
Trevin Heath speaking to me today from the site of a terrible accident that nearly killed his brother, 20-year-old Keegan, this past Wednesday as the brothers from Monroe worked in their concrete business together on a job in Garfield County.
The bucket was just up a little bit high, and everything just went right where it all had tipped over on him, and threw the skidster down into this basement area and getting him stuck in with his legs in between the concrete wall and the skidster.
Keegan's legs crushed. He was suspended, dangling upside down for more than an hour.
Just to get a hold of EMS and get a hold of everybody to come and help, it was hard.
Instructed not to move him because of how he was pinned.
Where it was pinched out, it was just a bad area. Your baby brother's looking at you and wanting help to get out, but it was really hard to sit there and watch that and not be able to do anything. And obviously it was the right thing not to do anything, but it was really hard.
He was taken by lifeline to a hospital in St. George and immediately rushed into intensive care. Although his prognosis has been good, his family says it's a series of miracles as they continue to hope for a full recovery.
This morning, actually, they just moved him from the ICU down to just the normal caring facility. Well, it just shows you what kind of spirit that kid has. He's one tough kid. I mean, I've got an older brother as well, and it's no kidding that he's the toughest of the brothers now.
Just married in January, Trevin says Keegan and his wife are so grateful for everyone who has come to their aid, especially the folks from the small town of Antimony, who he says comforted his brother in his time of need, including the homeowners whose job they were on when tragedy struck.
We just barely met these people a couple of times on the job site, and to think that they're starting a GoFundMe for Keegan just after knowing him for not very long just shows what kind of people they are and how much that means to us.
Keegan has a long road ahead of him, but his brother says he'll do all he can to keep their business going until he can come back to work.
Yeah, he'll be down for a while. I just like to thank everybody. It's pretty incredible just watching these small towns and come together like that. Everyone did the right thing, and because of that, Keegan's going to have a chance for recovery and he's going to be all right.
Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Boy. The Antimony Volunteer Fire Department arrived on scene within just minutes, helping to keep Keegan alive until they could transport him to the hospital. The family thanks them for everything they did during those crucial moments, and of course we wish Keegan the very best and a very speedy recovery.
Still to come in the final weeks before Election Day, both former President Trump and Vice President Harris are crisscrossing the battleground states, trying to gain any ground they can in a very tight race. We'll break down where they're headed in the path to the White House coming up. Tonight on the path to the White House, a busy week of travel in store for both presidential candidates, with the economy at the top of mind.
Scripps News anchor Lauren Margarino reports.
Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris will pitch their plans for the economy to voters this week. Donald Trump made 2 stops in Pennsylvania on Monday. At a Protecting America Initiative roundtable, the former president said he would protect American farmers by being tough on China.
We're just being ripped off by other countries, and not only China, by the way, but we're being ripped off at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And this administration has allowed it to happen.
Later, he held a rally in Indiana, Pennsylvania. On Tuesday, the former president is set to deliver remarks on the tax code and U.S. manufacturing in Georgia. On Wednesday, Vice President Harris will travel to Pittsburgh. Her campaign spokesman says she will contrast her economic plan with Trump's.
Vice President Harris is talking about cutting middle-class taxes. President Trump is talking about raising middle-class taxes by about $4,000 a year with his plan. She's talking about creating more small businesses and financial incentives for small businesses. Donald Trump's talking about another big tax cut for big corporations and billionaires.
That speech comes after the Harris campaign reported it raised $27 million at a fundraiser in New York, her largest haul to date.
It's showing that there's a lot of support for our message and what we need to do in terms of moving forward and charting a new way forward and dispensing with all of the attempts to divide our country.
Later in the week, she will head out west with stops planned in Arizona, California, and Nevada. Meanwhile, Trump will travel again to North Carolina and will make 2 stops in Michigan for a rally and a town hall. Lauren Margarino, Scripps News.
Before we go to a break, I want to share another video of drone footage of Scott flying over Tybalt Fork Reservoir. People out there enjoying some paddle boarding. But as we look at temperatures ahead, you might want to be heading back to the lake I'll explain after the break.
Is Utah State headed to the Pac-12 Conference? I'll tell you about that news going around coming up in sports. And we'll go back to Delta Center for the first preseason game for the Utah Hockey Club. The highlights are on the way.
I didn't feel that bad for Breck Bolton, who was out on the plaza at the Delta Center tonight, even though you and I were inside. Because it was that nice.
It was a beautiful day. We had the blue sky that matched our Utah Hockey Club blue,
That's right. Oh, and some pleasant temperatures to go along with it. Now, if it was a couple of days later, I'd be sweating out there because, yeah, we've been talking about these temperatures returning to more summer-like here, moving ahead. It's calm right now. It's the calm before the more calm. Yeah, we're not seeing much storm activity here over the next several days. Right now, we're at 67 degrees in Salt Lake City. I want to give you an update watering guide where we're lacking in rain. Thus, we're recommended to actually water our lawns a little bit more here for the upcoming week, where you can see all in orange. The recommendation is twice. That incorporates most of the Wasatch Front through northern, central, and eastern Utah. Some counties, especially over the Wasatch back, some of the higher terrain in extreme northern Utah, the recommendation is once. But for most locations, again, we're going to need to be watering our lawns a little bit more. And actually for Washington County, it's 3 times, where St. George, as we look for chances of rain, we just don't see it here for the next several days. You see just a little bump there on Monday, but don't see much of a chance to really see for the valleys of getting any rain. And for northern Utah, specifically in Provo, nothing. We're just kind of holding steady here with high pressure building in. We're just not bringing any unsettled weather here for the next several days. A few clouds though pushing through. It'll be mostly clear here in the overnight hours, but it's the high pressure as it builds in. It will strengthen and keep the low pressure systems and the cold air away here for the next several days. We're going to keep temperatures above average and actually approaching near record levels. Don't think we'll get there, but we're looking to reach the low 90s here, especially as we transition from Tuesday into Wednesday. But here tonight, we're going to be looking at clear conditions, 40s for overnight lows in Logan, 50s here across the Wasatch Front. Looks like many spots there through central northeastern Utah, also dipping down into the mid to upper 40s. Low 60s expected though in St. George, with temperatures back on the rise tomorrow. We're going to see a bump up, maybe 3 to 5 degrees warmer than what we saw here for today. That means low 80s in Logan. Many spots here across the Wasatch Front in the 80s, and then even mid 80s turning towards central Utah. Expected high in Bullfrog, 89. And 95 in St. George, where we're approaching triple digits for the Dixie area as we move through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and holding on to the weekend. It's going to be toasty. Yeah, this is getting us back to more summer-like temperatures, kind of more towards the tail end of August, rather than here kind of as we're approaching October, where here along the Wasatch Front, we get back to the low 90s Wednesday. For most days, we'll be in the mid to upper 80s. Again, as a reminder, on average, we should be in the upper 70s, but no 70s in the forecast, even though we see a little drop moving with a weak cool front that hits between Sunday and Monday. But as you can see, for the next 7 days, we're keeping the rain away.
What a night. NHL hockey is in Salt Lake City. The Utah Hockey Club played their first preseason game at home tonight against the LA Kings. Here's the Utah Hockey Club taking the ice for the first time at Delta Center. First goal of the match came right here in the first period. Sean Durzi to Lawson Krause. Great pass from Durzi on this one. Krause on the power play goal puts it in. 1-0 Utah. Moments later, Liam O'Brien got into a fight. That's spicy tuna. They went to the ice, then O'Brien got up and fired up the crowd. What a moment. Utah added another goal in the first period. Matthias Maselli with the shot at Alex Kerfoot is there to put it back in the net. Right place, right time. Utah up 2-0, but it's now tied 2-2 at the end of regulation, and Utah just won it with an overtime goal from Clayton Keller. So there you go. Unbelievable. Fox 13's Morgan Vance joins us live for more on the game. Morgan.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm glad you just got that breaking news. I'm still absorbing it myself. They just went into overtime, 19 seconds in. Their best player, Clayton Keller, who we're going to be seeing a lot more of in the future here, scored the game winning. I can imagine how loud and crazy the Delta Center is right now. But anyway, the power play has been invaluable tonight. The Utah Hockey Club had 4 power play opportunities, scored on 2 of them. The Kings had 2, scored on 1, and In the end, it was a 3-2 winner, so they are undefeated at this point, 2-0 in the preseason. They'll play again on Friday against the Vegas Golden Knights. From the Delta Center, Morgan Vance, Fox 13 Sports.
Yeah, what a lot of fun that was. The Utah and BYU football teams won their Big 12 openers, and now they're both nationally ranked. The Utes are 10th, and the Cougars are in the polls at number 22. Utah pulled off an impressive win at Oklahoma State on Saturday with true freshman Isaac Wilson at quarterback, leading the Utes to their first Big 12 win.
A lot of our guys, a lot of positive takeaways from that game. Obviously, the freshman quarterback, Isaac Wilson, did what we needed him to do, took another step forward in his progression, and for him to go into, well, our team, but him playing quarterback into the number 14 ranked team in the country's stadium, hostile environment, and come away with a win, that was great to see happen.
BYU also had a huge win over Kansas State on Saturday that has opened up a lot of eyes. The Cougars played their best game of the season. Now they need to continue to do it every week.
I do feel like we played with great energy and effort, and that was probably our best of the year so far. Looking forward to improving on it and playing our best this weekend. And have a lot of respect for Kansas State and their program, and obviously Chris Kleiman's a good friend of mine, so I know that they'll get their guys going, and a really talented team. Things went well for us, and we were able to capitalize on it, but there's still room for improvement, and we're looking forward to getting better.
It's being reported that Utah State will join the Pac-12 conference in 2026. The Aggies would be the 7th team in the Pac-12, joining Gonzaga, with UNLV possibly joining them in the Pac-12. That would be a big-time move for Utah State, moving into a bigger conference, bigger opportunities for the Aggies. So we'll see if that becomes official coming up in
wider
the next few
pool
days.
of athletes, maybe
Attracted
attracted there.
They have to pay an exit fee to get into it, but
well, I tell you what, we have seen the quality of college football just continue to rise here in Utah.
I know the only thing next is we'll get a pro football team.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
Let's go. There's the next billionaire.
We'll be right back.
Thanks for being part of Fox 13 News at 9.
Don't go anywhere. Quick Cast is next.